how do you take a 2-minute? I mean, first of all, what led to the story, the 2-minute version, the short?
Well, that was the 2-minute short was just something we did for a contest back home in Sweden for no money. We shot it in an evening after you got off work, and I mean, we had no intention of making a feature out of it. We were just trying to figure out what's the scariest thing we can do, just the two of us in an apartment.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most people have had this when you turn off the lights at home and you think, hey, that looks like a shadow, or someone's standing there in the dark and you have to turn the lights back on. But it was like, what if there actually was something in the dark every time you turned off the lights? And we just played with that idea.
Nice.
And then, so when Hollywood got in touch and wanted to make a feature out of this, it was like, oh, okay, what can the feature be? But because there isn't really a story in the short, which was an advantage, because the story for the feature felt like it could be anything as long as we kept true to the concept of it.
Yeah.
So
and
that was
kept it very small and intimate as well.
Yeah,
to keep that same
important.
feeling, like the people, you are trapped in your own house or your own apartment.
Yeah, and you are great at being scared, by the way.
Thank you.
But let's talk about. I mean, you tackle some serious issues here. This could have easily been a just fluffy horror film, but there's serious mental issues. There's a lot more depth in this than your average. How did that come about?
That was very early on. I felt that I wanted to do something with sort of mental illness and depression or something, because it, in a way, that's a sort of darkness as well, like within people.
Yeah.
So it felt like a sort of a natural link. And I think originally it was even more overt, almost that this was an allegory for sort of depression and mental illness. And then it turned into sort of more of a fun movie, because there was so much fun making it and playing with all these light sources and stuff. But we still kept that core of it, that sort of story about mental illness. That's, to me, is one of the scariest things.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's why the movie is. It could have easily been just a shock for shock film, but there is a definite freak out factor. Talk about the casting. You have this amazing cast. What led you to Teresa?
We were very lucky with the cast. Teresa was actually James Wan's idea. Because I'd seen Warm Bodies. That was the only thing I'd seen with her in it. But he was familiar with her and sort of brought her up. And I met with her, and she seemed great. And then, she just knocked it out of the park, because she just sells every emotion, and she was fantastic.
Yeah, I've seen the movie about 10 times, and she still makes me feel things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. With you, I was great to see you involved in this.
Yeah, thank you.
I mean, are you scared of the dark? Did this come from someplace for you personally?
I do that a lot when walking up in the middle of the night and seeing something and turning on the lights, and it's just a sweater or a coat rack or whatever. So I could definitely feel those things when we did the short.
Nice.
Yeah.
Why Diana? Why the name?
It was actually, I had this sort of idea that my first idea was that Diana was more of a demon. Mm-hmm. So it was that the boy sort of misheard the name that was more of a Dianan, or something that was more demonic sounding, and she was sort of misheard it into Diana. But then as we sort of developed the story with James, he's felt that instead of a demon, it should be more of a ghostly creature, like someone who was alive and actually knew the mother, to create that sort of the bond between the mom and
Make it more personal.
and the antagonist.
Intimate, yeah.
Wow.